There's a beast in every man, and it stirs when you put a sword in his hand. Hello and welcome to the Friday Fantasy Show from the Bottled Imp, exploring the realms of fantasy. My name is Ken Boyter, and today we are taking a look at Series 3 of HBO's adaptation of George R.R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire, Game of Thrones. Does that make sense? I think it does. Yes, these are based on the epic fantasy books that are... So far there's only book 5 is his latest. We're waiting on book 6 and book 7. At the moment, Game of Thrones is gearing up for the television series 7, so they are now ahead. But this is the series where the book and the adaptation TV series slightly differ. Let's find out how. Series 3, Game of Thrones. How does it differ from the books? Well, Series 1 and Series 2 follow the books 1 and 2 very, very closely. There's Book 1, I would say, in Series 1 are pretty much identical. Book 2, there's a slight change, but not amazing. Just kind of, it cuts out some of the repetition that happens within the book. Series 3, though, does differ quite a lot. The book is quite a beefy book. Well, they're all big books. This one, though, has the first half and the second half of the book running chronologically at the same time. So basically, you're reading a series of events up until halfway through the book, and then you're reading other events that are happening at the same time as the events you've just read. Now, that's basically difficult to do in a book in some respects, but for television, it's pretty easy in film, isn't it? Because that's how they're made. You can just swap around on different events as they're happening all at the same time. So that is the main change, that they kind of interslice each storyline as it's going along. Also, there is so much going on that they don't film all of the book. So there's pretty much, I think, just half of it that happens, or maybe just over half, because it's been a while since I've read the book. And so again, if you're expecting like for like, that's not going to happen. What is the setup? By now, if you're on to Series 2, you kind of know what's going on, but I'll give a brief recap. I don't really want to give any spoilers away, because obviously you may not have seen it. The setup is that there is 7 kingdoms that are all vying for ultimate control of the island of Westeros, I should say, and each house, they're noble ancient houses, that each have a claim, or so they think, and obviously other people are disputing that, and hence the chaos. There is a king on the Iron Throne at the moment, but their power could be fading, and hence why there are challenges. Meanwhile, there is a massive ice wall in the north keeping out the wildlings, but the wildlings are having none of it. There are hundreds of different clans, and they all want to come over the wall and attack what they call the southerners. There is a reason for that, and that is because the White Walkers are on the march. Now, they have not marched for hundreds of years, and pretty much everybody is scared of them. People don't believe that they're actually there, that they don't exist, because, as I say, no one's seen one for hundreds and hundreds of years. So consequently, the wildlings know that they're there, and hence why they want to get out of the north and into the south. Also, what's happening is across the sea in Essos, I don't know how to pronounce that, Essos, I think that's it, E-S-S-O, Essos. It's like Esso. Anyway, there is another claim that's happening, and that is by the mother of dragons, Khaleesi, or Daenerys Targaryen. Now, she has a claim because her father was known as the Mad King. He was, I'm pretty sure, the first king to unite all of the 7 kingdoms into one kingdom. And she is on a mission to reclaim her father's throne. There are plenty of themes, as you can imagine. Series 1 and Series 2, like the books, it is packed full of themes, and some of them do continue over. There are 2 main themes, though, that come to prominence with this series for me, one of which is magic. Now in Series 1 and Series 2, it's very low level, especially in Series 1, it's barely there. You know, there's a hint of it. It's normally about folklore, tales that you tell children, that there used to be dragons, that there's magic. But now, in Series 3, this is cranked up. It's now open. It's now in the open. We see different types of magic. It's not just one magical system in this universe. There are different types used by different people and different races. But it is still fairly rare. So if you do see magic happening, it's like, oh, okay, right. You know, it's not something that everyday occurrence. Magic is still rare, but we are now learning more about the magical systems and who can use magic and why. The other main theme for me here is slavery. There is the question of ownership and freedom, and they really explore this in a really mature way, because you would think that if you've been a slave, that as soon as you're freed, that you would go, brilliant, thanks, I'm off, see you later, I've got the world to explore. But would you though, if you have been brought up as a slave, if you've been nurtured, if you've been conditioned to think that you are worthless, that you are a slave, that your only reason for existing is to serve others, and if you had that conditioning for years and years and years, how easy would it be for you to suddenly, if you've got your chains taken off you, to suddenly go, yeah, I'm off? Because suddenly your whole life has changed. What you know, what your existence completely changes. And so you would start to question, well, actually, I don't know what to do. How do I live? What thoughts do I have? And so therefore it's not as easy as, once the chains come off, you can, you're off and you can live your own life and you can, prosper. I guess in some respects, it's only just occurred to me that it may be similar, and I have no experience of this, so forgive me if I'm totally off base with this. It could be the same as if you leave the army or the navy, because you've been training with them and you've learnt, you might have been in since you were 16 or 18, and you've spent 10 years, 20 years of your life taking orders, and that's the structure, you have to do that, and without discipline, armies would collapse. But then there is that question of thinking for yourself, and I guess there would be situations, yes, you are trained to think for yourself, but everything else would be regimented when you eat, where you eat, what you wear, how you wear things. Your routine is planned for you. And so to suddenly, you do hear of when soldiers come out of the army that sometimes they feel lost. They don't quite know how to integrate themselves into society and live as other people live who haven't had this conditioning. And so I could imagine, and again, I've no experience of this, so if I'm wrong, forgive me. But again, if you have been conditioned for so many years that this is the way that things are, you could, it would take you a lot of effort and looking at the world anew to break free of your mental chains as well as your physical chains. As I say, there are other themes that run through. There are creatures that are part of the magic, so that's nice. So we get nice different themes, which is all mythology, and that's actually the mythology now comes into the real world, which is beautiful to see. There's giants in there. I guess it's a little bit of a spoiler, but they are fantastic, and again they've got their little bit of backstory going on. There's also betrayal and revenge. Now again, that has cropped up throughout the series, but again they look at it in slightly a different way, because this time they're questioning about how long should you wait for betrayal, how long should you wait for revenge, and how much rubbish should you put up with somebody who you think you're loyal to. So certainly if there's a lord and their servants, their subjects, how much should you take of their commands, of their willing, and you keep constantly giving and giving and giving, and yet suddenly you don't feel like it's reciprocated? How much of that should you put up with? How much should you take before you decide, no, hang on, you've crossed a line here. You are doing me wrong, so I now need to betray you to do you wrong. So it kind of goes hand in hand. The betrayal and revenge is a very interesting dynamic. And also, how long should you wait for revenge? There is one character, again, I don't want to give any spoilers away, that has waited, his whole lifetime. There's an incident that happens to him, and he's one of the main characters. And again, this is what I like about Game of Thrones, the characterization is amazing. So this backstory comes out, and it explains a lot about his personality and why he's doing what he does. And so he has just slowly decided to take revenge on this one person that did a particularly nasty thing to them when they were a child. And so it's beautiful to see that kind of, you suddenly his character really clicks and you think, yes, now we know who you are, now we know why you are doing the things that you're doing. And the fact that he really starts to revel in his revenge. And so there is that twisted logic, because we're brought up to, revenge is bad and betrayal is bad and you should feel bad for that. But should you? Something inside us, if you get a chance to revenge something, an injustice, you're probably going to enjoy it. And again, the characterization isn't black and white. There are many shades in all of the characters. They are constantly conflicted. They are constantly trying to square the situation that they might find themselves in, where it could be duty that forces them to do something they don't really morally agree with. So there's that conflict of interest going on. And the other thing that crops up here is cruelty. And again, we've had cruelty before, but this one in particular is cruelty in a way that is kind of almost unconceivable. And that's cruelty for cruelty's sake. Just simply enjoy being cruel to somebody, torturing them both physically and mentally. Just the thrill of doing that. And that is a very, very scary prospect. You can understand up to a point if someone's cruel because they wronged you in a certain way or they wronged your family. Or you could be cruel because of their beliefs. You could kind of, totally disagree with their extremist beliefs and you're cruel to them or they're cruel to you. You can kind of understand that. But just being cruel because you enjoy it and it's fun, that is psychotic. And so they really explore that theme as well. And they do it in such a twisted way. So there are other themes that come through. As I say, there's honour, there's entitlement, there's legacy, there's also desire. And those themes have always bubbled along in each book and each adaptation, each series, I should say. So again, with the television series and the books, the beautiful thing about this is they can explore these themes in great detail. I mean, each series is 10 episodes, so that's 10 hours to explore the characters and their desires and their loves and passions. So overall, again, series 3 just hits the mark. The characterization is amazing. It gets better. Game of Thrones, there's no weak series so far. Each episode is exquisitely made. The production values are amazing. The characterization, the story, the script, the plot, everything is pretty much perfect. And the storylines twist and turn. You really feel like you're in the world. The world is so believable. It's real. It's gritty. Even there's magic. You buy into it. And that to me is a mark of good fantasy. There is episode 9, which is notorious. You may have heard about it. I'm not going to do any spoilers, but be prepared for it. And again, there's real threat, there's real jeopardy to the characters. George R.R. Martin is not afraid of hurting them. And in a realistic way, justice is not always served. Unjust things happen to people that are good. It is reality. This is by far, possibly, the best television series ever made. There we go. Not just fantasy, but ever made. Obviously, it's a difficult thing to say because I've not seen every single TV show. But it just, if you love Lord of the Rings for its realism and the fact that you felt like you were watching history, it has that same experience. It's one of these TV shows that you just adore. If you love rich characters, if you love rich worlds, if you love magic, if you love mythology, it's all mixed in. Politics, intrigue, religion. It's a beautiful mix. It's fantastic. If you have watched series 1 and series 2 and you've not seen series 3, you are in for a joyous ride. If you've never seen any of them or even read the books, I implore you, do so now. Series 3, Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones Series 3. As you can probably tell, this DVD is a slight box collection, so Series 4 is there, and that obviously will be next up when we review Game of Thrones, the television series. We have done all 5 books. as a review of Game of Thrones, well, A Song of Ice and Fire, and we have done a few more of George R.R. Martin's books as well. Plus, we've done a Game of Thrones board game review too. Is there anything that we haven't done? Yes, lots. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Remember to subscribe to our channel. Just simply click the subscribe. You can like our Facebook page, and also you can join the Fellowship of the Bottled Imp. Just go to Facebook, search for the Bottled Imp Fellowship, click join, and we'll add you in. Until next time, remember to keep it unreal, especially